Oh, awesome.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. This is Smart Business Moves. We have Mark Baker as our guest today. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how are you, Tom, Liz? Good to see you both.
Yeah, good to see you too, Mark. We're excited to have you here today.
Excited to be here.
Ah.
I mean, one of the cool things about Smart Business Moves, it gives us an opportunity to meet, creative minds in the industry that otherwise we might not have an opportunity to. I mean, I see your stuff in Facebook, and I think, gee, I'd like to get to know that guy. And this kind of forces the issue. You can kind of, multitask. So this is awesome. I appreciate you joining us today.
Well, I've been avoiding you, Tom. It's Liz who roped me into talking to you.
You're not the only one, Mark. See, truth is out right there. Hey, Heather. Good to see you. Okay, I'm going to get onto Facebook. Let's see if I can do it without being loud. You know how much of a challenge this is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she calls it the Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebook.
I do. How did you know that? All right.
What else is going on there, Tom? No, jokes aside, it is an absolute pleasure to meet you. I've definitely been following you for the last couple of years since I first attended the 018 ISSA World North American Show. And pleasure to meet you face to face. You've done some great things in the industry, and it's super awesome to connect with you and Liz both today.
Thank you very much. We are going to just take a moment to go over what we're doing for the rest of the week, and then we're going to jump into the fun stuff. Tomorrow, Royce Ard's going to be with us, and Royce is, making a lot of contributions to the industry as well. I know that he does a lot in the area of automations, and he's going to be sharing with us. You see, Liz just left, so I guess that was her effort to get on the Facebook. But she'll be back. She usually comes back. How to automate your Maid service, and this is going to be kind of cool because we've never had Royce on the show either. So looking forward to that.
A lot of the things Royce will be going over with you are things that I passed along to Royce a few months ago. And what Royce is special with is he can take something that he's a friend of mine. He can take something I bring to him, and I had it working good, and he'll make it work great.
That is kind of cool, especially in the area of technology. The whole idea is this is what I've been able to figure out, give it to somebody else, and they can figure out how to make it better and share it back with the rest of the community. That is awesome. Oops. Here we go. Hello, Liz.
Hey, Tom. Would you believe that I have no idea what happened?
No.
Smart, Tom. Smart man.
Wednesday is deal day. We do that every Wednesday of the every final Wednesday of the month. And we've got several deals lined up. I know Debbie Sardon's going to be sharing a deal with us, and we've got several more as well. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. Everybody gets 4 minutes to explain what their deal is, and then they're going to offer a special deal that you're only going to get for Smart Business Moves, and it's for Smart Business Moves participants, and the deal's only good for 2 days. So you'll get to find out what it is Wednesday at this time, and it's good until end of day Friday. So you got to move quick, but I don't know. We always have fun doing it. I think I do. Do you have fun, Liz? I have fun.
I do love doing deal day. Hey, you guys. I'm still trying to get on. Starlene, Marlo, Denise, a lot of y'all on here today, regulars. Hey, Mark, I'm thinking a lot of people coming out to see you today.
Well, I noticed Marlo, and Marlo, I'm a fanboy of Marlo's.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. She has a fairly large fan base for sure.
Yeah, she's a pretty nice person. I got to sit next to her during a round table in Vegas last November. So, and I had a chance to connect her on a webinar. She's pretty special person in our industry, I think.
Yeah, I think she's one of those people too that has just a natural ability to connect with people. So everybody just sort of flocks to her and likes her, and it's just one of those personalities that is very, very attractive to everybody. Yeah.
And she's committed to, the whole idea of professionalizing the industry. I know that she invests a lot in training and her people, and she runs her business in the right way and is always very helpful with anybody who's in the house cleaning business to work towards those goals.
You're right. She's super helpful with everybody.
And mentioned roundtables, I guess they'll be coming up here in a few weeks, right?
What will be, Tom?
Roundtables.
Yeah.
Virtual roundtables, which in some ways will be much better. Obviously, not as good because you don't get to meet people in person, but there's some things about that virtual roundtable for the ISSA North America show that will be so much better. Breaking up these side conversations. Again, technology, Tom, isn't it amazing how I'm in the most easterly point in all of North America, probably 6,000 kilometers away from Liz right now. And here we are connecting, and it all really stemmed from the ISSA shows.
Yep.
Yeah. And, the thing that I am really looking forward to with the roundtables is, I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember a time where I wasn't at a roundtable or where I was at a roundtable and didn't have this feeling of, dang it, if I could get access to my back stuff at home, I could share some of these great ideas or forms or all of this different stuff, but you can't do that when you're in person. But here we'll be able to. It'll be simple.
That's going to be a great segue when we get to it, because one of the things that I'll be talking about tonight is automating your training program. And one of the platforms I'm going to share is how you can take what's in your head from, say, a roundtable or any other training event, because I know yourself and Tom and some others have hosted retreats and different types of things over the years in order to kind of help business owners take their business to the next level. And again, you come home from that retreat and you have to implement it. And that's where people really get stuck. And that's kind of what I want to share tonight, is how you get yourself unstuck and get what's out of your head into a platform and to your people.
Yeah, I love it. We are big advocates of training around here. So anything where you can make your training more automated is going to be a win for sure.
Thursday, secret guest on the spot, a rapid fire Q&A section where each one of us gets 60 seconds to answer your most important questions. Do we have a hint for who our guest is going to be on Thursday?
We do have a hint for this week. And this week's hint is we have had males for the last, I think, 6 weeks in a row. And so we have a female coming up this week. That's your big hint. Female.
So we've just narrowed we basically
50%.
cut the consideration set in half, didn't we?
You got it. That's easy, Tom. And Royce, you heard Tom talking about you, huh? Your ears were burning?
Yeah.
Oh, is Royce on?
Royce is on now, and he will be sharing with us automation techniques tomorrow.
Royce, I'm out of beer, so we need to collaborate. Royce, being the amazing human being he is, I had shared with him some information on some platforms I was using. And as I mentioned, Royce will take anything that I'm using averagely, and he will make it 1,000,000 times better. So
nice.
I was at work here one day, and a local microbrewery that makes great beer, and I love craft beer, he called up or went online from where he's at, which I think is Georgia, which is pretty far away from St. John's, Newfoundland, and he ordered beer for me, and they showed up with dozens of craft beer for me. And I stocked my office fridge, and I'm out. So Royce, we need to talk soon.
I like craft
awesome. Beer. I know. I'm like, Tom, you're in the wrong groups.
Yeah, you got to become friends with Royce Hard. I'm telling you right now, he's quality people.
Yeah, I'm okay with PBR. I mean, I'm not even picky.
Not picky at all. Oh, too funny. Good to see you, Royce.
Again, Mark, welcome. You want to start off maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into the house cleaning industry, and where you're located, and a little bit about your business, and just any other interesting facts maybe that
Sure.
you should know.
So basically, I was a youth basketball coach in a so I guess I should start off telling you where we're located. So we're in Canada, 36 million people. We got a GDP about the size of Texas. So we're not, California has the fourth largest economy on earth, but we're not small either, so to speak. But I live in a province, which would be a state for most of the viewers, which are mostly American here. And we have about 500,000 people in our whole province. And we're an island. We're one of the largest islands on earth. So we're jutted out in the North Atlantic, about 10 kilometers away from the ocean, which will take me to England for the next stop. Now, the capital city is about 100,000 people, and I have access in my market to about maybe 70,000. So the average clean price for me would be run from $90 to maybe $110. So I was a basketball coach, but it was more of something I wanted to do to be close to my daughters who loved basketball, to be honest with you. So it was a labor of love. But the business was doomed for failure because I had economic dependence on the owners of the gymnasiums, which were the school districts. So, if a particular principal didn't like the cut of my jib, to use a Newfoundland saying, they could not give me the gym time. So ultimately it was doomed for failure. But as my kids, grew older and moved on, with their lives from sports, I shut that down. And I needed to do something. My kids were raised, very successful twin girls, are 23, both work in the banking industry. One is an all-Canadian fitness model. The other one is on a full scholarship, finishing last year of business school. And one of my other daughters, she just graduated business school in other provinces. So it was time to start my business. And I fell back to what I knew, which was cleaning. Unfortunately, when I shut down my basketball business, to be quite frank, I had lost it, to be honest. So now I was only the second ever paid coach in our province. And just to give you an idea, an NCAA championship basketball tournament will probably generate $500 million. We'd be lucky if 1,000 people would show up for our national university championship game. Very different culture than the U.S. here when it comes to anything outside of hockey.
Right.
So for me, I definitely was trying to kind of trailblaze becoming a paid coach in a province of this size. But it did leave me with nothing. I lost everything. So I was starting scratch in my early 40s. So what I ended up having to do was, look to what I knew. And I had some aunts who had worked in the cleaning industry, and my mom had briefly worked in the cleaning industry. I was entrepreneurial because my dad was an entrepreneur. And, when I was growing up, my aunts who raised me would sit around the kitchen table gossiping, and they'd talk about cleaning. And they'd talk about the new girl or the new guy and, and how they're never good enough and they're not doing what they're supposed to and, the drill, right? So it was kind of inherent, and I needed something that was ease of entry. So when I looked at the cleaning industry, it was obvious it was an ease of entry. And it was obvious that there were people in the industry that were doing things at the type of level you would expect in some other established industries, such as the oil and gas industry. So if you look at yourself, Tom or Liz, you're applying different principles and human resource practices that you would traditionally not necessarily see in the residential cleaning industry. So I had thought that was an opportunity, that if I could kind of raise the bar, I could make my mark. So I started off with a borrowed spin mop and myself and a business plan and started cleaning. So that was 16, and I made a whopping 90 Canadian dollars in my first month. So that was tough. And last year, before the pandemic, we shut down, just say the end of this year, I had reached here 1.87 million in sales in 4 years, all residential. So it's been I'm tired. I'll be honest with you. I'm tired.
That sounds like good reason for that there.
Yeah. So one of the things that always stuck with me was my brother, who manages a large waste management company that's international. He always said, Mark, you don't know what you don't know until you learn it. And that's only when you realize you didn't know it. And, thanks to technology, you could get all this information, but again, I was full of misinformation when it came to the cleaning industry, so I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. And thanks to ISSA, attending the North American shows, and my first show in Dallas, I thought I was the man. I was coming out there and I knew everything, right? And I was going to tell all you Americans how to do it. And something, I never learned what I could have because of that attitude, but I still learned, and I brought a lot back. And then I made, I knew when I came down to Vegas last year, I took 4 staff members with me, like not cleaning staff, but like office staff. And we all went down, and our goal was to figure out how to beat the turnover game, because the turnover game in the cleaning industry was causing all the issues. I mean, everything ultimately was coming from turnover. And when we done the round table, what I learned is that there was a lot of amazing things, but for us, we were already applying human resources practices that were really high level. So it was kind of the opposite. A lot of people were kind of like wanting to learn from us when it came to that. So I came back from that show, rather than be on cloud nine, ISSA, I had to go to Vegas for the first time. I mean, how can you not like Vegas? I got to be with Alonzo, who I adore, right? Edward Wright, who I adore. I got to see RJ, very sweet, sweet people. And instead I came back fully depressed. And I sat down in my gathering area there with my team, and I said, we've got to fix something. And we scrapped our entire business model from scratch. So we were doing about 700 customers at a time in this small town. And we realized that, we need to make some significant changes if we were going to become a national entity. So we did roll out nationally, and now we have cleaning providers in about 36 different communities, towns, and cities across Canada. So our goal for next year, we hope to hit the 10 million mark, but maybe I'll go bankrupt. Who knows? That's just what we're going for. Because some days it feels like I'm about to make it big, and the next day it feels like I'm about to. But that's kind of what I want to.
So you did 1.8 last year, and you're hoping to do 10 million next year?
Well, I say I'm hoping because I'm trying to be humble, but I'm going to do 10 million next year. So the fact of the matter is that, we proved that our business model can work in this market. And Canada is very different than the US. I mean, US is like 50 little countries, right? So you're all Americans, but at the same time, as because you have a chain that is in multiple states, that doing business in different states isn't as easy as just rolling out across the entire country. There's a lot of
We do know that.
Yeah.
Municipal laws, federal laws, state laws, and unless a company comes in and they can generate a lot of revenue or investors to make that happen, or already have a large sum of money, it's not so easy to expand nationally in the US. Hence why franchising is a big thing. And as you know, even franchising is extremely expensive. But in Canada, to become a national company isn't something that's extremely expensive. It probably costs $600. Mm-hmm. It's really nothing to it. And the difference in the laws between the different provinces are not as drastic as the US. Mm-hmm. So we had developed a remote model, a remote business model. We started executing it. And then COVID happened and we got shut down by law. So we were not allowed to do business. And that gave me a great opportunity to tweak things, but it changed the game with regards to, we were moving away from interviewing anyhow. So we were moving into the remote hiring practices as it was. And it really helped for the professional house cleaners, for that to become more palatable for them. And then from the customer's perspective, they also were more palatable to it. So we were already kind of ahead of the curve moving to a remote style business model. But COVID actually helped us in that regard because it helped the consumer and the cleaning pros kind of come to that for us. So we're open back up. We're at 50% of what we were. I mean, people are just regaining confidence. There are some areas in Canada that are being hit heavy. Montreal is being hit very heavy. Toronto's being hit heavy right now with COVID. But our model allows us to operate without brick and mortar, which means that there's areas where we're going to be less busy and areas where we're going to be more busy, and it kind of hopefully, pans out, right? And so that's the story. And here I am talking to Liz Trotter, a celebrity in business. Lucky me.
You're spread out larger. What geographic area are you currently covering?
Well, Canada and the West Coast is British Columbia. So that's where Liz is, up above Liz. You're in Washington. I believe that's West Coast, right?
Yeah.
And then you're on the East Coast, I guess, North Carolina, is that time?
South Carolina, yes.
Okay, so it's kind of is Eastern. I don't know much about United States geography.
I live in Charleston. I'm right on the ocean in South Carolina. So
you're close to Angela Brown.
She's in Charlotte. She's about 3 hours away. Okay,
she's amazing. So we operate from coast to coast. So people are on the very in between. So there's no geographical boundaries except for one of our provinces is a French-speaking province. And they have some different laws. They are very in our well. You guys have a constitution. We have different things here, Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and different things. But here, the Quebec province is entitled to speak in French. So for us to be able to operate there, we have to allow the people who work with us to be able to correspond in French, and we're not optimized for that. So because our support agents, of course, are overseas, and they don't speak French. So for us, we have to bypass Quebec until we build enough working capital to invest in, French-speaking support agents. And of course, that drives up the human resources costs, which, obviously affects what we're doing. So we just bypass.
Yeah, that's such a different concept. I never would have thought of that. Being here in the States, we just don't have anything like that at all. So,
Well, I'm going to be on as a Canadian guest because, to be honest, I have so many dear friends in the United States. And I'll tell you this. When I first went to Dallas 2 years ago, now I had never been off this rock outside of Canada. We love the rock here. Newfies, as the rest of Canada calls it, Newfies. And I was scared because, listen, we get all the bad news, right? Like, you're going to get killed if you go to the U.S., right? Like, something bad is going to happen down there, right? So I was scared. And I got to tell you, I can't even begin to express how positive the experience was going to Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
First of all, the food. Oh my God! Like, you never tasted flavor until you went down and ate it down there, and the friendliness. And I got to tell you, I have such an amazing opinion of the United States that I'm just egging to get back there every chance I get. And thanks to you and Tom and the ISSA, I have so many friends now that I can visit down there, which is super exciting, right?
Yeah,
so,
super nice.
But we are very different. I will tell you, it is a daily battle because a lot of our vendors, the people we deal with, is through the U.S. And sometimes there are some people that do kind of consider us just to be another state in some ways. Yeah. And they, naturally assume, and even in the professional house cleaning groups I'm involved with, and some of these groups have 10, 12, 13,000 people in it, and they'll say, hey, what do you price this at? Or how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'll be like, what country are you in? And someone from Australia will be like, yeah, I'm in another country, another continent. And a lot of times in this profession, so what I did was I approached the ISSA Canada executive director, which is Mike Nosco, that you both may have met. And if you never, he's awesome. And I proposed us starting a residential cleaning committee for Canada. So right now we have a new committee called the Residential Cleaning Committee for Canada. So ISSA Canada Residential. And we're actually going to be presenting at the ISSA North America show. And we're really working hard to raise the membership benefits for Canadians. And our goal is to, really build a residential cleaning industry in Canada. So, yeah, and we want to make sure that our unique needs as Canadian members are definitely heard. So that we all can grow and benefit from the industry.
Nice. Well, the saying, high tide lifts all boats. So that's good for me. I like it.
Wasn't it? I think it was John F., wasn't it? Made that quote?
I have no idea.
That is John F.
Cool.
Yeah. Somewhere like down the road pretty soon, though, Mark, I would love to talk to you a little bit more and learn more about what you're doing with ISSA in Canada, because obviously we both have a passion for promoting professionalism in the industry, and I think that is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. I will definitely look forward to connecting with you on that and learning from you. It's been intimidating, you are a bit of a bigwig in the industry, so we'll see how tonight goes first. I'm just with you, Tom. I like to joke a lot. You probably figure that out.
This is your website, right, Mark?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny because that website now, one of the big things that we thought would happen, because so controlling the market, and first and foremost, no one will ever control the market in the residential cleaning industry. It's very fragmented, and even people who have large market share have very small market share overall. Different companies, different franchises, organizations, Maid, Castle Keepers, different, the cleaning authority, they'll get market share, but this business will always be fragmented, at least in my lifetime. And for us, we really had to focus on, can we recruit and get massive amounts of applicants. And our last advertisement for professional house cleaners in Canada, we got just under 5,000 applicants in a month. And so once we knew we could do that and we could train them remotely and we could dispatch them remotely, our next thing was, okay, well, we need customers to click and to get us. So our main focus now is this website. So we're investing about 20,000 into this website, into our SEO in the next 3 weeks. And our goal is to be a thought leader in this space here in Canada. So we're converting, actually I have a boardroom here across me, we're converting it to a YouTube studio. And thanks to Angela Brown and her assistants, I'm learning a lot from her on developing content for YouTube and just making sure that, if you think cleaning in Canada, that our brand comes up. So this website is interesting. So what happens is they just get an instant estimate based on an algorithm. So we put about 50,000 cleans in, and we have certain packages. So that'll estimate how long the average professional house cleaner takes to do a set task list that we sell in an average house based on bedrooms and bathrooms. We used to have it so we had all of the different rooms of the house. And once we had built that out, we realized that the correlation between bedrooms and bathrooms were so closely tied to the rest of the house that about 85% of the time, the estimate's pretty close. So what'll happen then is that'll go then and look at our providers and say, okay, well, I'm looking for a clean in the A1N area. You guys, 90210 is the only one I know, the only zip code I know. Because there's a show. You guys have the zip codes, we have the postal codes, right? And that, believe it or not, that was a lot of work because all of the software was configured for Americans, right? So the platform that I'm using has been a dream come true because I build use cases for the owner and I send videos to the owner and they fix their software. So I'm wrapping that software around my business model versus wrapping my business model around other software, which is always frustrating, right? Because when that happens, if you don't want economic dependence, ultimately you have to build your own software, and that's about a $1 to $2 million affair. So the thing is that they'll put in their postal code. Our providers will put in where they want to be available. They'll put in when they want to be available. It'll match them up and dispatch them. And that's it. And then our system builds them. And like today, for example, we have a support agent here in Newfoundland because we're ramping back up overseas. And we had a provider who did a move out clean yesterday and completely missed the mark, like done a terrible job. And we were able to have a Google Meet. And that provider is nowhere near us. But we could sit down and have a Google Meet, follow a set checklist, and we're able to help that provider, to fail forward. Yeah. And do better. And technology has been a blessing when it comes to that, right?
Is the provider, is the provider considered to be an employee, or what is the legal relation?
I can see those wheels spinning because you're a business model man. So Tom is just a business model. He's like, how does this business model work?
The rules in Canada, the laws, I'm sure, are a little bit different. These are discussions we have in the U.S. all the time. Just kind of wondering how it works up there.
The history is very different because, of course, as you know, in America, there was a tendency to switch people from employees to contractors to save on payroll taxes. And ultimately, they were still being treated as employees. And I guess, especially in California, as you know, with their new laws, the American governments just cracked down and said no more. And they just took over and they made the rules. And, all the cleaning companies had to switch to referral agencies, so to speak. And it was very strict on what you could and couldn't do. Now, the difference between a contractor, the litmus test between a contractor and employee is, the same here in many regards, and we don't go near the employee model with a 100-foot pole, and we never did. But the leniency of the Canadian government when you're working with contractors is much different than America. If we were to do things the way we do it, and we were in the U.S., it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Like it would not work. So for us, yes, we use a contractor model, but for example, we can onboard our contractors into an online training platform that lets them know what our policy and procedures are and trains them. However, they have the right as a contractor to not do that. So they have to sign off. So there's a lot of compliance where they have to sign off saying that, hey, I'm doing this voluntarily. But at the same time, I have the right to say, you have to execute this work order or cleaning checklist, if you will. And if you can't execute this work order in the way that I need it to, then I'm not going to give you that job. But if you want to go take this voluntary training, that's going to help you to learn how to do that. And it's totally up to you. You can or can't. We don't care. It's up to you. And most people, to be quite frank, they love it. They love the idea of going in there, and because, hey, it's probably right here, through, well, maybe it's not, through ISSA, I learned that I bought Debbie Saran's speed cleaning. I bought the Maid Academy from the UK. So I bought, most all of the world-class training materials that are out there. And of course, the number one training material out there is Angela Brown, and her YouTube channel has over 900 videos right now. And we were able to take that and just build our own. And so who doesn't love learning, right? Who doesn't love going into a platform and learning all about?
Well, Mark, do you want a list? I got names for you. I mean,
well,
if you
Not
want
maybe they
names-
don't admit it, but through their actions, they tell you they don't.
well,
Yeah.
it's a different platform. Like, for example, for us, when we came back, our margins were probably, we were probably paying out 55% in wages, whether it was contract wages or whatever. And here in this office, I was paying out probably around close to little over 200,000 in salaries and benefits. So, that's a big number, right? And in order for us to pay a living wage to our professional house cleaners, I had to find ways to be very financially efficient in the operation side. And now we actually are able to pay our providers 80% of what we bill. And when we say that to people, they go, I just don't get it. Like, how are you making money? Well, it's not rocket science. I mean, if most businesses try their best to operate between 18 and 10% when it's all said and done before interest and taxes, and some do better, some do worse, but that's what they're shooting for. So, if credit card companies picking off 2.7%, we have HST. It's a harmonized sales tax across all of Canada. It's different rates for different provinces, but in general, tax is different here. There's just one tax, right? So, the effective rate the credit card companies are getting from us is probably around 3.27%. What that's leaving us a certain, 16 or so percent. And we've got to operate on that effectively. So we've got to, in order to have that 10%, profit for interest and taxes, we've got to operate on 6%. How do you do it?
Hold on. I just realized that, Mark, you're very interesting. And I just realized that we're 35 minutes into the show and we have not talked about the topic yet.
Well, we were getting close there a while ago.
This transition, because you had a guy on the other night and you said and Tom said, because I watch your show when I'm giving my daughter a bath, I have it on and I'm bathing and I'm listening to you guys. And I'm watching Tom trying to figure out what this man's about, because I could read you. You got that smile, not that fools me. I'm sure you're a very ruthless businesswoman. But Tom, I don't know anything about. So I'm trying to figure out what Tom's about. And you guys were talking, and you were talking about how, well, you said, I know we had that guy on, and we got him on. Don't make a plan. Don't make a plan for him. Listen, Liz, don't make a plan for me.
No, I'm sorry. We already scheduled you, so you have to talk about your topic, because we have people here asking for
We'll
it.
talk later on those things, because I'm going to you and me as well, right?
We'll book you again, Mark, here within the next few weeks. Next open slot, we'll get you back on and we can kind of freeform it. But
Tom's assuming I'm going to come back.
Well, that's true. If
you want.
Too funny. I'm only messing with you, Tom. I love the joke.
Let's take about the next 15, 20 minutes or so and jump into the whole e-learning thing a little bit.
Yeah. So basically how it works for us is that, okay, there's two parts I want to kind of talk about. Okay. I want to talk about creating content, and then I want to talk about getting that content pretty much out of your head into a playbook, a business playbook. Okay. So, I mean, most of us know, or people that are entering the industry are learning, going through different stages of their entrepreneurial development in the cleaning industry. They're learning that ultimately systems and procedures is where it's at. I mean, no one is going to argue that, but you hear every day, if I could just clone myself, if I could just get good people, if people just cared, if people had a good work ethic and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God, like, can you imagine McDonald's took that attitude? I mean, listen, we're all choosing from the same pool of people. So at the end of the day, we had to be able to become very efficient and successful businesses with what's available to us. So how do we get, average people to deliver consistently so we can get a predictable result each time we do something, right? Well, systems and procedures. And Angela Brown, who I will always cite because I'm a big fan of hers and I've learned so much from Angela, she calls it, don't reinvent your business every day. So the approach that we take is that whenever there's a use case that happens, that use case we ask ourselves, is it a plausibility that this use case can happen again in the next 5 years? And if there's even a small chance that this could happen again, then we build a procedure for it, right? But the thing is, you want to build your procedure once. And that's the thing, right? Now, what I found was a lot of the learning management software out there, the LMSs, right, were very robust and they had a lot of bells and whistles and they were really shiny, right? And I love learning. So guess what? I'd go down in these rabbit holes of time loss, big learning curves on this software. And that's a death trap for a business owner because time is very important. I mean, you can take 1.87 million in sales and put it into a 40-hour work week. My time's worth $8,300 an hour. You do the math, right? Like all you got is your time is your most valuable resource. And so what ended up happening is that we never ever built out these platforms. And it just built up and it built up and it was stressful. So finally, I just realized one day, done is better than perfect. And if I could build an online training system, then I would be better than 99.9% of my competitors who have none. So I had to be okay with building something that wasn't great. And if anyone ever does any writing, I mean, that's what writer's block is all about, right? Giving yourself permission to write bad stuff and then fixing it, right? So we dumped the LMS systems that were powerful and we came across a program called Trainual. And I got to be honest with you, it's one of the biggest factors we're able to expand the way we did. Because what Trainual did, and I'll send you both an invite to a Trainual session that's going on soon on the 5th of next month, where they have some real bigwigs are going to be presenting, like that guy from, we have Dragon's Den in Canada. You guys have Shark Tank. The really handsome guy, he started FUBU. Draymond John or something like that.
Damon John.
Yeah. So he's going to be on it, right? And you'll be doing live webinar with him. And I'll send you both invites. You can jump in on that and see what that's about because it's going to be fun talking to lots of cool people that have had success, right? I mean, he started in his mother's basement, right? But so he's a big proponent of the Trainual. But what Trainual does is that it takes a powerful platform and makes it simple. And it breaks down content into a subject, a topic, and a step. So if you think about a book, right? So you think about a biology book from high school or a chemistry book from high school, right? It's chemistry or organic chemistry or inorganic chemistry. And then, you open, you got a chapter, right? Or biology, vertebrates, invertebrates. Well, it's kind of the same thing. So you can say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take a role like human resources or my office administrator or my billing clerk or my support agent. And you can build a role, and underneath that role, it just automatically gives you the spots where you can then put in, say, for example, different areas of their responsibility. So when that person... Are
you going to share something, Mark, and show us what we're talking about?
Yeah, of course, I definitely will. So what happens is that when people leave your company, the collective knowledge that you built doesn't leave your company. And that's what it's all about, right? Because, you can't have economic dependence on any one person if you are, trying to build a company that runs without you ultimately. The other thing you can do is like you can say, for example, how to clean a house. Okay, well, you can break that down into different areas. You can have your kitchen, right? So how you clean your house is your subject. Kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, and say common areas. Okay, well, how do you clean a kitchen? And you break that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and I'm going to share that with you briefly. And I created a demo account because our account is very robust. And going on, so there's a lot of proprietary information in there that I wouldn't want to put out to the public. But I had them create a demo for me for this event so I could just show you just a couple of quick things. Right. But what's great about it is compliance. And before I show you, I want to really get something across to anyone who's watching this now, who will be watching it later. Look, my first office was above a brothel. Okay, it started off in my basement, and I'm not lying to you, it was 8 by 8. And it's all I could afford. It was $200 a month, and it was an embarrassment. I could stop interviewing people at Starbucks and start interviewing people in this 8x8 room, and it took, we progressed pretty fast, but, obviously that's not the image you want to portray. So when you're creating content for your people, whether it's staff, whether it's support agents, whether it's the cleaning professionals, you can't get hung up on things. Like, for example, I'm bald, right? I used to have beautiful hair like Tom. That's not there anymore. I got a double chin. Maybe I'm shooting it in the rec room and my toddler is making noise. None of that matters. If a use case presents itself, click Cam on your computer, go to Screencast-O-Matic, which is dirt cheap, $60 for a year, record yourself talking and say, "Hi, everybody. Let's talk about our policy on smoking on the premises. Or let's talk about our policy on locking up houses. Or let's talk about our sexual harassment policy." And you can just shoot a video and you can embed it. And when you press go, it goes out to everyone in your network, no matter where they are in the world. And then you can see whether or not they've watched that. And again, this was borrowed from Angela. She says, Reclean equals retrain. So the professional house cleaner from today, Harinder missed the mark in certain areas, and we were able to go in and specifically choose those areas and reset it. So Harinder now has to go back and redo that training in the areas. So that, just get it done, create content, put it up there. And even if it's really, really sucky, it's still great. You're not better than everyone else. Final point on that is where you get the content. Look, don't get hung up on whether or not you clean an oven. Like, for example, go clean your own oven. Take a picture with your iPhone. Don't get caught up on all the details. You know how to clean an oven. You know how to wash a baseboard. You can buy into, for example, I know like some of the platforms like Maid Central. Hey, they're probably, if you're running that platform, they're probably providing lots of great training content. There's so many people out there providing training. It's such a good investment, and they'll let you use that training within your own platform to help your providers. Like they're okay with that. And the internet. I mean, Angela Brown has 900 free videos. You want to know how to clean an oven? Search Angela Brown oven. You now know how to clean an oven. So with that said, let's do a screen share, and I'll hop on in and give you a quick look-see.
Do you see where?
It says share screen. I think it's down at the bottom.
Yeah.
All right, you guys should have my
There we
screen
go.
now.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just start off with Welcome to Motivated Maids Inc. Okay. So as you can see here, all this is just listed as unpublished. Okay. So you have your subjects. Now you have templates, and this was something that I helped them when they were beta testing it. So they've gone and built all these templates for you. So a referral program, health insurance, best practices. Welcome to Mark Baker demo. They kind of built this for me. Employee policies, subject starter. You can kind of click down here and you can look at all of them. Tech we use, brand standards, like for Castle Keepers, that's a big one, right? So keeping that Castle Keeper brand standards, that's really important. Employee review process, office policies, intro to Gmail. They've built out a lot of the templates, Google Drive, Zoom, company messaging. So like they've built out a lot of the things already for you, right? You want to add a user? Hey, I'll just hop on over here and I just invite a user. Okay, I put in the name. So, hey, Mark Baker, put in my email, check my permission levels, what level, general, billing admin, whatever the case may be. I can assign them to teams and I invite them. And they'll get an invite, that we did for them, and it all falls into place. Now they can go in and look at their desk, right? So now obviously this view is an admin view, but they can go in and see all the courses have been assigned to them and their progress and things like that. And of course, there's an app involved. But looking at subjects, so let's just look at Welcome to Motivated Maids Inc. All right, so we've broken this down to Welcome to Motivated Maids Inc., Get to Know Us, Startup To-Do List, Being a Professional, and General FAQs, right? So let's go and say, Get to Know Us. Okay, so message from our CEO and founder. Okay, so again, right, I'm not hung up on the fact of anything, whether or not this is perfectly produced content. Done is better than perfect.
I like that shirt, Mark. That was
Yeah.
good.
It's
How
the
many
only
do
one
you
I have.
have?
It's the only one I have. Basically, you go on in, and I just made a quick video.
Hi, I'm Mark, founder and CEO of Canada's #1 professional house cleaning service, Motivated Maids Inc. I want to say welcome to the team. You're about to embark on a rewarding career, a high-paying career, and potentially a life-changing career. And I really hope that it's an enriching and positive experience, and I hope you feel proud of our brand. I want to start off by talking about your attitude.
Okay, so I'll just kind of stop there. So I'm the first thing they learn about our company once they're in, so to speak, is a message from me. And that's powerful in and of itself because, you know, as we get larger and larger, I'm not going to be able to connect one-on-one with people as I could in the early days, right? And I can immediately get to the main thing, which is attitude, you know, and for me, that's about how you view yourself as a cleaning professional. You know, just a cleaner versus I'm a professional house cleaner. And that's what we kind of talk about for a few minutes. And I want to set them up for success, right? So, and I can hit those key points that I want them to know. So, you know, and then of course you can add written content as well. People learn in different ways, right? Some people consume content differently. But I mean, this content can be created just from within the platform. You simply just have to go on in, you know, you hit a button and the screen recorder is built right in. So it just opens up your camera and you record it. Now, for me, they're working on making that screen recorder a little different. I put mine into YouTube and then link it back in because I want to make sure this content is mine. And if I exit the platform, I don't lose my content. You know, next here, we can talk about culture, for example, okay? So we got some stuff on culture, history, our mission, our core values, things of that nature.
So it looks like what I'm seeing there, Mark, is you don't always have a video. Sometimes you will just have written content.
Well, that boils down to the whole done is better than perfect, right? You know, so ultimately, yes, we want to have video and of course compliance testing just to make sure that there's comprehension. And the compliance testing doesn't have to be difficult. You know, for example, if you break something in a house, what do? You run around like a chicken screaming, "Oh my God!" You know, or you know, you just have some fun with it. But you're just checking to make sure there was comprehension and people aren't just clicking mark complete, right?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that there's still lots of work to do for us here. But what we're finding is that now that it's done, we can take care of this in real time. So, for example, let's just have a quick look at taxes, your taxes, okay? So we have contractors, right? Well, guess what? If we have contractors, we know that, because a lot of the people come work with us, I mean, they're not operating as independent house cleaners and then filling their roster with our customers. I mean, they enter the business to work with us, right? And we give them enough work that they really don't have any reason to work with anyone else, even though they can, right?
Yeah.
So we take the time to help them to understand, you know, what is an independent contractor? You know, how to do your taxes, you know, QuickBooks Self-Employed, track your income expenses. You know, we have mileage deductions. They get like 57 cents a kilometer up here in a tax deduction. We talk about planning for your retirement, you know, harmonized sales tax. So for us, we want them to be successful because we treat them, even though they're not franchisees, we treat them as franchisees. Mm-hmm. We want them to be successful. If they run into tax problems later, then they're not going to be able to work with us. So we preemptively give them that support that they need.
So Mark, you have this set up as the idea that each one of your cleaning professionals are enrolled in these classes, and if they choose, I mean, I guess they can opt in if they don't have to do it because they're independent contractors. But the idea is you'll be more successful if you take these classes. We did this for your benefit, and you sign them up and they just kind of go through them in some particular sequence.
It's kind of like training a dog and training a cat. Okay, so a dog is going to do something because it wants to make you happy, right? Yeah. So a dog wants to make you happy, but a cat doesn't care if you're happy. You have to want to do it, right? Yeah. But you can train a cat. So like for us, look, I just want to qualify this by saying that one thing I've learned is that I will never know everything about the cleaning business or business. And this business has humbleized me like no other thing in my life because I'm a confident person, and this business has brought me humility. But I will say that there's many ways to run successful cleaning businesses. And it's not right for someone to say, hey, you need to shoot to become $1 million owner. If your goal is to be yourself and 2 people assisting you, and that's what you want, that is totally okay. If you want to be a regional provider with 15, cleaning pros working with you, that's okay, right? But for us, with our business model, it's a volume thing. We need to do massive numbers in order to get those economies of scale, in order to get the profitability we need, right? So we, not figuratively, we literally treat our cleaning providers as customers. And Royce, who might still be on here now, Royce and I were collaborating one day, and a phone call came in from a provider, right? And I said, Royce, you listen in on this one, right? So, hi, Motivated Maid, Mark speaking. May I help you? Because we had just started back up, so I was still taking calls again. And, the cleaning pro had an issue, say, like with a tub. And they're like, I'm having trouble getting this tub clean. It's like, okay, well, tell me about what color it is. And they're like, well, it's pink. And I said, okay, great. So that means there's bacteria, right? It's a bacteria ring. I said, so I want you to go into Train. I want you to search the word pink. And that's going to give you a video and show you how to go about cleaning that tub. But in the meantime, what product are you using? And the provider told me the product. And then it's like, okay, well, that's not going to do it. So here's the thing. What toilet bowl cleaner do you have? And they had Lysol, which, as you know, is acidic, right? So I said, okay, so you need something acidic. So here's a little bit of safety information on using that. And I got them to use a toilet bowl cleaner, And when I got off the phone and I ended with, is there anything else I can assist you with today? And they said no. And I said, well, remember, when in doubt, give your support team a shout. Your success is our success. And I got off the phone. And Royce said, because Royce's got that cool accent from down in Georgia. So Royce like, damn, I can't do his accent. He's like, you really do treat them like customers, don't you?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't treat them like customers. They are customers.
So even though this is an LMS, you also use it as a knowledge base.
Exactly. We use it as a knowledge base because it's not just an LMS, right? So let's go and look at how to clean a house, for example. So golden rules of cleaning. Okay, so we've broken out some different golden rules of cleaning, right? And you guys know all these golden rules. Like we got an overview, follow your game plan, tidy first, use 2 hands, dust everything you can touch, top to bottom, left to right. I mean, it's all the stuff everybody in this industry knows, by now. But how to clean a home, for example. Okay, bathrooms, trip 1, trip 2, vacuuming, mopping, bedrooms, hallways, kitchens, cupboards, living areas, add-on services, and it just kind of goes on and on, like cleaning products and equipment, right? So we break down cleaning products and equipment. So, and I'll just stop my share here real quick. Actually, in order to do that, I've got to go back to this page and click stop share, I believe. Here it is, stop sharing. Okay, so as a contractor, we can't tell them what products that they need to have on hand. And that's no different than America and Canada. We can't tell them what cleaning to have. But here's the thing. We give them a list of things that we know will make them successful, and we source it, right? So it just makes sense. So when we look at, say, floor cleaning systems, we say, hey, these are 4 different floor cleaning systems that you can purchase. And each of these floor cleaning systems have benefits because there is no one system. And anyone who says there is wrong. There's no one system, right? And you want RJ Patel done an amazing video, I think, again, on Angela Brown's, where he talked about hardware flooring and how his company deals with it. And to be quite honest with you, it's worth watching because he's got a great knowledge of hardware flooring and his market area and how it's cleaned. But we'll let them know, here's how you clean. These mop systems are good for these different applications, and they can choose the one that suits them best, right?
Yeah.
We can even put an affiliate link and get some money for it. So, there's if you create a situation where people can be successful, then they're going to want to choose to be a part of what you're doing because it helps them earn well. And that's not any one thing done well. That's many, many things done well. For example, very quick direct deposit payment, being able to see all the cleans you did and what percentage you got. Being able to control their own availability and schedule, being able to access a knowledge base. Like there's so many pieces to the dynamic thing. But at the end of the day, no matter what kind of operation you're running, whether it's small or whether it's castle keepers or something bigger than castle keepers, you have to be able to deliver content that is consumable to your people, whether they're employees or contractors or whatever. And you have to be able to create content easily, right? And this platform for me did that. And it's not the platform. It's that, okay, to clue up, we all heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? You heard of that, of course? Yeah. Well, that's an institution at this point in time. That's one of the best-selling books of all time, right? Now, none of the knowledge in Rich Dad, Poor Dad was new. But they put it into a conceptualized framework that allowed regular people to get it, right? Yeah. And when you create content, and I know you, Tom, you have interest in real estate investing, I believe. I heard you say in one of your shows. I could be wrong. I thought that you, yeah, you have a real estate investment. So again, right, you know, if someone can take that knowledge, because we used to be in the information age, now there's so much information, it's paralysis by analysis, right? So being able to put the knowledge in a conceptual package that is consumable is important. And that's what Trainual has done for us. It's allowed me and my team to create content, and then it's allowed it to be consumable. But don't get hung up on whether it's good or bad content, because it's better than perfect. And that is, Edward Wright is an amazing guy who called me after the webinar I done and told me, thank you for saying that, because now I'm going to create my content.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Tom, we're out of time, but if you could do a link over there for Trainual, would be awesome. It's just trainual.com.
Well, I'm going to give you my affiliate link if that's okay, because if somebody decides to use it,
great.
They'll send me.
Share that with us. We can put that out. We can put that on the resource. Also want to share though that, you know, there are, depending upon what the subject matter is, I mean, you've got a lot of proprietary, you know, your company policies are your company policies, but at the same time, you don't want to be reinventing the wheel in terms of material that's already out there. And there's some material, honestly, that can't reasonably be duplicated. I mean, the certification programs that they have through ARCSI Learning, for instance, their classes here, and we've talked about these before, so I don't need to go into it, but I just want to be clear that what you're talking about is not a substitute for outside proven curriculum. It's an augmentation for the, I guess, site-specific, the company-specific information.
That's really important that you pointed out, Tom. I'm really happy you did. If you hadn't brought that up, if there was time, I was going to bring it up. So like this, for example, the home cleaning, so ARCSI just launched their e-learning platform, and you know, it's pretty awesome. Now, we went to Vegas. Every one of us took 5 people done the HCT course, myself included, right? And again, right, you want to do that. And we took that information and knowledge and got that out to our people. Again, it's an augmentation, because the way this is, it's not just about how to clean, it's about best practices, policies, procedures. For example, we have, like I said, proprietary information. Our entire business model is inside there. But without question, keeping in mind that the material in this particular program that you have pointed out, I mean, that's got minds like Bruce Vance, right? That's got people like Tom Stewart. You know, that's got people like Debbie Sardon. There is a litany of people who have paved the way for us with people trial and error that have taken their knowledge and shared it to build this platform. And I would say the most valuable training platform for the best price out there right now is the online ARCSI Learning. And that is a great starting point for people. Start there, and then you can build from there.
I think one of the things about the ARCSI Learning program is that is something that everybody can use, and you can take it the way it is. You don't have to modify it. You don't have to do anything to it, because it is for all companies. It's telling you about cleaning. It's explaining the science of cleaning. This is not subjective educational matter. This is all very objective learning, and so all companies should be doing that. But what you're talking about, Mark, is super useful, because like you said, every company runs and does their operations in their own way. So that has to go on top of your PhD learning.
Turnover is important, because now our turnover, we got single digit turnover. We went from hundreds of percent to single digit, and that was, you know, painstaking to do, right? And in doing that, you know, but before, I mean, for us to pay for that, for someone to turn over, that could be hard, right? So like for us, we invested in 5 people doing that course, going to Vegas doing that course, and then we're able to come back and say, okay, well, what do we want to take from that?
I think you're talking about a different course, Mark.
Home
You're
cleaning
talking
course, HCT.
you're talking about the HCT course.
What are you referring?
And the HCT course was a program that was designed to be taken in person. It was a 2-day course.
Right.
The PHC program is a different version. It is an online version, a lot of the same material, but it's much less expensive. There's no travel involved with the PHC, and it teaches the science of cleaning.
What more do you want? Yeah,
I know.
As did HCT, I did go over the client signs as well. Interestingly, today
they're very similar.
Yeah, I had a conversation about soapification with someone today, and you know something, I didn't understand soapification very well until I took it. So like for me, like starting points without question is ArcSea, all the training they have, invest in that, spend the money on it, you won't regret it. And for that price, for $100 or $99 or less dollar, I think that package is a 6 right now. You can go in and buy 6 packages and get a ridiculously low price.
Yeah.
Put your entire staff through it, right? It just it doesn't make sense not to do it. You think about what we invest in our money in. The one thing I invest in every day. So I'm that guy who gets up at 4 a.m. right? So I get up 4 a.m. take a half an hour to acclimate to life before the world starts. Okay, and I spend 1 hour on a particular subject matter of cleaning, educating myself in the cleaning industry, and I spend an hour educating myself in business. And then I go about my day, breakfast with my family and off to the office, right? And the number one thing you can invest in is not some sort of magic mop bucket. It's yourself. You have to invest in yourself. And for me, I'm a huge proponent. I mean, I'm such a big proponent of it. Again, I helped kind of found this residential cleaners committee in Canada because I want people in Canada to know we exist, that I want to say exists.
Okay. Well,
we got to cut, Tom.
Yeah, this was awesome though. And
really awesome.
You've got a lot to offer. You bring a lot, Mark. We're going to get you back on real soon.
You got to say top of the hour, buddy. I'm disappointed. I look forward to that every night.
We are at the top of the hour.
Top of the hour.
Past but we'll be back tomorrow with Roy Sard, and we're going to load up and do it again. You guys have a good evening. We'll see. Check the chat. I dropped the triannual link in for Mark there. So if you're interested, click on that and check them out.
See you, everybody. It's really nice to meet you in person, Tom, and virtually in person. And Liz, it's always nice to see your beautiful smile.
Thank you, Mark. It's always good to see you and hear what you have to say. Always great stuff, great content. Hopefully we can get you back sometime soon.
Bye, guys.
Truly. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye, y'all.